Welcome to New York Baseball Today, presented by Caesars. I'm Ted Berg from SNY.TV, and joining me in the studio is SNY Mets analyst Bob Ojeda. Bob, how's it going?
Good, Ted.
Bob, today we're going to shine our player spotlight on tonight's starting pitchers, Oliver Perez for the Mets and A.J. Burnett for the Yanks. And these are two guys who are kind of similar pitchers in that they both rely on a lot of strikeouts, but are both prone to the walk. Burnett's a little bit different in that he's not as prone to the meltdown as Perez, which we've seen a bunch of times this year. Right. What does Ollie got to do to get himself right?
Well, you know, Ollie with the fastball that is very good. It's alive. It's got movement. It's got everything. Problem is he can't get it over the plate consistent. What he needs is, and what he's worked on since he's been gone, is those secondary pitches. A little curveball, a little changeup. What that does is a couple things. It puts in your mind, the hitter, that something different might be coming. And for me, the pitcher, it may help me find my fastball.
Now, we talked a couple weeks ago about pitchers before and after, the first pitch, and you've been saying, you think that the first pitch stats are a little bit overrated. Oliver Perez, even from last year, they're pretty jarring. After an 0-1 count, opponents get on base 26.7% of the time. After a 1-0 count, 40.3% of the time. What do you think that means?
Well, I think on the surface, it's like this glaring, wow, he really needs to throw the first pitch strike. The reality is, if he's not throwing the first pitch strike, he's probably not throwing any strikes, because he is prone to these meltdowns. He is prone to not being close to the plate, but so far off, he's not inviting swing. So that stat is, I would say, going back another layer, is the true story. And the reputation of him is a guy who has a very hard time finding the plate. And if you wait him out, he might implode.
I think that's a great point, because you look at Burnett, a guy who's leading the American League in walks. This year, after an 0-1 count, 305 on-base percentage against. After a 1-0 count, 363 on-base percentage against. Obviously, it's a bit higher, but not nearly the disparity that Perez shows.
Right, and he isn't prone, to that meltdown to that degree. He is wild. He does have more consistent secondary pitches that he doesn't rely on for out pitches, but he relies on those pitches to enhance that fastball, which is what he's going to get him out with. And his fastball is considerably harder than Oliver's.
Now, we talked about a couple weeks ago, we talked about waste pitches, and you would say that sometimes you might start a pitcher out with 2 balls just to set him up for something over the plate, try to enforce bad contact. Now, what I didn't follow up on, or what we didn't talk about, is that nowadays pitch counts seem so important in baseball. Do you think that the waste pitch might be something of a lost art in baseball?
I think to a certain degree, because guys were taught to be economical with those pitches, and I don't really like to use the word economical when you refer to pitches, because to me it shouldn't be mixed. But the clicker has always been a part of baseball, always been a part of pitching. But the pitching coaches back earlier relied what their eyes told them along with the clicker. The trump card was what the eyes told them. Now, well, not anymore, but the last 2 or 3 years, it became the trump card. It was almost mid-throw. Okay, you're done. And that has gone away. Now it's more what they see along with the pitch count. So guys aren't so worried about it. They're not so worried about wasting pitches. But at the same time, a guy like Burnett and a guy like Ollie, do they need to set up an 0-2 pitch when they're not a precise type pitcher? Your more precision pitchers, your more pitchers in the 88 to 92 range, he generally needs to set something up. A guy at 94 plus, it's pretty much anywhere in that direction near the plate is good. He's not going to be able to set up, because the setup there in and of itself means I'm throwing this pitch in this particular area to set this pitch up. They lack the command to do that, whereas the guys with the lower velocity, with a little more command, that becomes an important part of their game.
It's a great point, Bob. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Ted.
Remember, catch Bob on the KFC Mets pregame show right here on SNY at 6:30 tonight. And for all the latest on the Mets and Yankees, check out MetsBlog.com, WasWatching.com, and BronxBanterBlog.com. We'll see you next time on New York Baseball Today, presented by Caesars.